Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Guy Next Door.
Me, DK.
And me, Than.
Bringing you your weekly double tap of all things Space Marines and Laserforce. Good morning, gentlemen. Sort of.
Ish.
Morning.
Yeah.
You live in some kind of weird country where it's morning? What a weirdo.
I do indeed. And not just me, but also our other... we got another guest, because that's kind of what we do on this podcast now. We talk to people on the scene from all over the place, because we can. The scene is big-ish. But before we get into that, do one of you fine gentlemen want to give us a bit of a reminder of when Nationals is next year?
Nah, everybody knows it by now.
Shill. Shill the
I mean,
crap.
Really though, while they should know this information already, Internationals next year will be in Auckland, New Zealand, July 20th to 24th. And it will be Space Marines 5. Our perfect little angel of Space Marines 5.
Space 5Z?
Eat all the dicks, Steve-O. Eat all the dicks.
Red base is under attack.
Okay, cool. Well, so now that their housekeeping's out of the way, we got a guest who hasn't yet featured on the podcast, and he messaged me during the week and said, look, you should get me on. I can offer some insight as to what's happening in my little slice of paradise. And I thought, well, that's about right. Actually, he's probably got a perspective on a scene that we rarely hear from.
And he's president of the Fireball DK fan club.
But without further ado, all the way from Sydney, Australia via Auckland, New Zealand, I'd like to introduce our man Lonesoul. What's up, man?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good, bro. Good. It's nice to
Thanks for having me.
It's all good. It's all good. It's nice to have another person who sounds as bored as I do on the podcast.
It's not bored, it's laid back.
Yeah, that's right. Laid back. That's what we are. We laid back.
Otherwise, the Kiwi lifestyle.
Otherwise known as super bored.
We're not like these California kids who are peppy and well spoken. We sort of like to slur our speech a little bit.
That should be because we're on fire all the time. We have to be constantly moving, otherwise we might just burn up.
Being in Australia, I think Lonesoul has a little bit of experience with that, right? Is it
yeah.
New South Wales on fire at the moment?
Parts of it are, yeah.
Oof, that's brutal, man.
Although this morning it was about 15 degrees when I got up to go to training.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's like the same temperature as it is here. What the shit? That's cold
yeah,
for
no,
you
it's
guys.
a bit odd for Sydney, but I think it's going to get warmer. There's no cloud cover and it's sunny as shit, so...
Thanks, Obama. So...
Really? That's where we're going
been
with
the
that?
Weathercast with the Kiwi crew.
Alright, so look, you obviously you've been playing a little while now. How long you play for, Sol?
Too long, according to some people.
Sounds about right.
About 16 years.
That's a pretty long time, man.
2003, I started playing.
On the regular?
Properly, anyway. On the regular, yeah. I originally signed up in 01, which is about, a year after the centre opened.
Yeah.
One of my mates actually got a part-time job at the centre and said, hey, these guys play, kind of regularly, come down and have some fun.
And
that was that. No, he never worked there, but he went to the members' nights fairly regularly.
Oh, right.
There was another mate of mine that didn't really play.
Oh, right.
Then he stopped working and I kept playing because I met you and all the rest of them.
So you've been playing like about as on the regular about as long as I have. I didn't realize that.
About a year less.
Wow.
I think probably not a year, probably less than a year, about 6 months or so.
Yeah. Because I started like sort of at the near the start of 2003. So
yeah, pretty sure I was somewhere around the end.
Oh, that's crazy, man. So What kind of made you stay? You get your taste.
Stupidity. Absolute and incredible stupidity.
And let's be fair, it is Auckland. There's nothing to do.
Oh, that's
A great advertisement for NASCAR.
Yeah, I know,
next year, by the way.
right? we're trying to build this shit.
That's the rest of the country is interesting. Auckland is just Auckland.
Look, that's so I'm not originally from Auckland. I'm from down country. It's a very Auckland attitude towards how Auckland is. Auckland is magical if you're not from here. But,
Like so many places.
spoiled assholes. So boredom is how you got hooked on this game.
No. So I really enjoyed playing with the people I met playing there, and of course the all the different game types and everything like that. They were very interesting to me, and I picked it up fairly quickly and enjoyed playing it. So
Yeah,
we carried on.
it's I think that's kind of how most of us get in, right? Like you and I don't know about you, but like if you start a hobby and you find that you like it, and B, you're kind of good at it, it goes a long way to keeping you coming back, I suppose.
Yeah, well that's the thing, isn't it? It's about enjoying it and keeping at it. I mean, practice makes perfect, or so they say.
they would be right.
In which case, all of us should be continually practicing because we all suck.
Well,
True story.
The older you get, right then.
It's true. It's very true.
So, how many nationals have you played, so?
As of Detroit this year, 4.
What an amateur.
Rookie.
There's the rookie numbers. You're bumping those numbers up.
Yeah, they are. They are rookie numbers.
So which ones have you played?
So I played, the first one was Brisbane in '05.
Yeah.
Which we won't talk about because it was just disastrous on many levels.
It was not good for you guys. That is 100% accurate. But to be fair, you guys still had a better tournament that year than I did. So
I think our only points came against you guys, right?
That's correct,
like
because that's correct because my team ended on 0.
But I mean, on paper, that team was all right. Like,
No.
Well, some of us didn't even get to play lasers that year because we were in the States without lasers and just sitting there and getting fat. So,
That's true.
things could have been worse.
Yeah, true.
That's true.
Anytime with no lasers is a bad time. But no,
Yes.
on paper that team was all right. We just didn't work good as a team
At all.
No.
at all.
Whatsoever. You guys were atrocious as a functional unit
Yeah,
that year.
it was.
You were trying to smash together very disparate subgroups within that team.
Yeah.
And that's always challenging. DK and I can definitely speak to that because we've done that in Sacramento a few times over the years, and doesn't always lead to the most positive outcome for the tournament.
And I
Yeah,
think
we won there one time or another.
I think also because I think you had just started playing in Auckland then, is that right? And
Correct.
Yes.
yeah, so we hadn't entered what I affectionately refer to as the age of Thanatos, where Auckland Laserforce, came under your tutelage, and rest is kind of history.
Started to suck less. Yeah, that would be accurate.
Right.
No, well, and to be fair, with 2005, I mean, at that point, you guys really had no reason to, do anything different. Although your guys' complete meltdown in '05, I think, actually really then let me do the things that I did later for Auckland. So in a way, long term, it ended up being a good thing. But yeah, that was not a good time for you guys.
You got to break them down so you can build them back up.
Pretty much.
Well, he kind of did that in a training game, like played as a commander and fucking smoked us. And we were like, maybe we should have taken Than. maybe, it probably would.
And of course, everybody hearing this is going, wait a minute, Than can actually play a good commander? What's that? And the answer to that question is yes, and I mean, not anymore, but it was,
Yeah,
that was
The
2000.
answer is yes if you have a time machine.
Yeah, that was 2005. It was 14 fucking years ago. I was 26 years old. I could still move. Yeah, it was cool.
Oh man, it's weird to think of you in your 20s.
Yeah, he had hair.
It's true. That's an accurate statement. I'm sorry, Soul. So 2005. Which other years?
So then it was Auckland in 06, where we came second and lost to the infamous Totem Pole.
Goddamn totem pole.
But we beat Oakley, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was the first time a New Zealand team had beaten an Australian team.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, that was. I think that was literally our first match of the tournament was versus Oakley, and I have this very clear and distinct memory before the game of Black Sneak going, you know what? My goal for this tournament is to just take a game off of an Australian team, because at that time that had never happened. Auckland had never taken a game off of an Australian team, as sad as that sounds. And then we beat them the first game, and we went back in for the second game, and then I remember going, well, maybe the goal is now taking a match off of an Australian team. And then we took the match, and he was like, okay, I don't know anymore. I've met all my goals for this tournament. And then we ended up finishing second. That wasn't too bad.
We some vivid memories of mine. Two that stand out aside from the fucking totem pole. Was the first haka ever performed at a Laserforce tournament, and the second was Mental had Nightmare smash into him in the testicular area. And I remember him having to like ice his balls like for like hours afterwards.
Ouch.
Yeah. I remember that too.
Yeah.
That's a pain.
So that was your second tournament.
Yeah, that was my second tournament and probably the highlight tournament so far. But then I had a bit of a hiatus, just playing members nights.
Yeah.
From there and up until I moved to Sydney in 2013. But then a small resurgence in Brisbane in 2017, and then 2018 last year, and then Detroit this year.
Any highlights from those tournaments?
For Brisbane, no. My goal for my goal for that tournament was to at least win one game, which we did against Zach Beeb.
Yeah.
And I think everybody
Zach is
was
always willing to help out with that kind of thing.
They're givers like that.
Yep. Well, they made us work for it though. But hearing your team came first was a highlight. After the tournament we had, and then 2019, it was Detroit was a pretty good one. I prefer their arena over Brisbane. Unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Very.
But I had a pretty good tournament as ammo when I went in expecting to play a scout.
And that because you basically played. I don't think you haven't played a Resup tournament, right?
No, I played Scout, and Heavy.
Right.
Until this year.
I thought you killed it as ammo too. Like, yeah, it makes such a big difference when you like. I predominantly play Heavy. When you have a resupply that you can trust, it makes all the difference. Like a competent resupply you can trust is huge.
Yeah, well, we had that talk, and it made a bit more sense to shore up the back end in that arena.
Yeah.
Rather than have an experienced Heavy in the back and then an experienced scout assisting the commander in attacking. It just made more sense for me to go into ammo so I can watch over the medic and watch your back at the same time.
Yeah. Plus, you were tall enough to kind of shoot, like, you know, over some of those walls at the back, which is
Oh,
handy.
I still got pinged a fair bit.
Thank God for 0
Okay.
point penalties.
Yeah, yes, yes, indeed.
um, so, I mean, that's kind of your like Auckland history, but you're obviously you've moved, you've set
Yes,
sail, and
we
now based across the ditch.
yeah, sure have, and there's plenty of sites that use the Laserforce system, but they're all party venues. They're all bowling alleys.
Mm,
Um, so it makes it they either don't have the full system, so they've just got standard and supercharge,
mm.
um, just for party kids. But the ones that do are a fair ways away from us.
It's a shame. I mean, you say us. What do you mean by us?
So I have one of the infamous King brothers that lives in Sydney as well,
Right.
Leach.
Who's
He
also an
won,
expat Aucklander?
yes, he is, and he won the Rookie of the Year last year in Brisbane.
Oh, he did too.
Yeah, which means both Simon and his older brother each have a Rookie of the Year award exactly a decade apart.
That's crazy, man.
Because his older brother 2K won it in '08 in Ballarat, and then Simon won it in '18 in Brisbane.
It's crazy that that Sai had never played a tournament.
And that,
Yeah. Like the dude's been good for a long, long time.
That's like rookie with an asterisk.
Yeah, exactly right. He's rookie, but you know he's like
Rookie
ain't
of the
he ain't a
year.
rookie.
he's
Wink,
he's
wink.
almost a decade in his playing career as well. So
Pretty sure he's a bit longer,
I
isn't he?
think he might be longer actually. Yeah.
He
Um,
he was playing when I was still in New Zealand, so yes, it
So,
would
yeah, longer
by
than a decade.
by very definition, it would have to be over a decade because I've been gone for over a decade.
that's ridiculous, man.
It is
That's
a little
crazy.
bit.
So, but you guys have kind of got a site that you play it on the regular.
We've kind of found a couple. There's one that's about 80 k's away, in the middle of the country that has a regular members night and plays some of the advanced games,
Yeah.
but it's a long way away.
How like
Um,
how often do they play? Like every week?
Every week, yeah.
80 Ks is not that bad.
That's what 50 miles.
Yeah, that's literally 50 miles.
Right.
Whatever.
I would
Whatever.
easily drive that every week. I am seriously questioning your commitment here.
But in saying that, we also have Leach has bought a house near the other centre we found, and we've played at a few times now.
Yeah.
The arena is built around party games for kids because there's a bloody school bus in the middle of the thing, and there's 2 flights of stairs, so it doesn't really lead to
Double death stairs.
fast double death stairs, and there's about 10 in each one too.
What the hell, man? What's with
Don't
these
get
arenas
me started.
putting stairs in their arenas? Like it just blows my mind.
Seems like a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's
Very terrible.
It's like trying to climb a stairway in a dimly lit alley. You know what's wrong
While
with you
while
people?
getting shot.
Yeah, while getting it's like climbing a stairway in a dimly lit alley on Gratiot Ave in Detroit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so it's like trying to drive to Pizzapopolis, right?
Right. So okay, but so you guys are sort of in the process of building like a scene there. Is
Yeah,
that
so
how it's done?
that's about as accurate a description as you can get.
Sort of.
We've actually found another place that's a little further out than the other one, but it's an X Zone site and it's full of X Zone players,
Right.
but they're using Gen 7.
I mean, you know, you kind of gotta do it though, right? Like Laserforce is Laserforce.
Yeah, well, laser tag is laser tag, and you play just to play laser tag.
Yeah.
There's-
Sounds like
some
they need
people-
some
some people are
SM5Z.
Well, I was planning on going down at some point in the next little while and recommending it because considering they're releasing it soon,
So
and it might be up their alley.
being X Zone players, I assume they play by zone rules.
They sure do, and while it annoys Leech a little bit, it doesn't really phase me because I can shoot them before they can shoot me because I can't aim.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to aim when you're not looking around the corner, right?
Yeah, when you just stick your phase around hoping you'll hit them. But yeah, I walked around the first night I went. Leech wasn't there, but I walked around, standard show a shoulder kind of thing, and,
Yeah.
and ended up beating all of them, which is a bit embarrassing for them, but yeah, whatever.
You gotta march in there, like a crusader, spreading the good word.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the ones we've been doing that, and they've shown some interest, but they hadn't had anyone really to show them how to do it properly, how to play the game properly, and that's what they're afraid of is change.
Which is actually, that's fairly common. I know in conversation that we had with the Germans who came to West Coast at the time this pod comes out, it'll probably be a couple of weeks ago. And if you haven't listened to the podcast with the Germans, I highly recommend that you go and do that after you listen to this one.
Yep. Just make sure you turn the volume up.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little quiet because it was recorded on my phone, but you get that. But they actually said something very similar about because the site, or one of the sites that they play at, it changed from a different system to Laserforce, and there's this kind of resistance to trying anything new because the odds are that you're potentially not going to be as good at the new thing as you were at the old thing, and people don't like to suddenly suck at something that they used to be good at.
Yeah, it's pretty hard because there is always that learning period. Like I would imagine that the fundamentals of being able to aim and shoot a phaser is more or less the same. But yeah, if you've got to relearn a skill that you that you're already semi-mastered, then yeah, it's not a great thing.
Well, and then also trying to teach yourself some of these things without having somebody who knows what they're doing kind of come in and say, "Hey, here's how you do the thing." That also adds a certain amount of barrier to change as well.
And the primary barrier I think I find is it's the resetting that gets them.
Right.
Yeah.
So not being aware to kind of move once they get shot.
Because you shoot them and then they just stand there and go, oh well, I got shot, and then they kind of just amber away. But whereas there's me who's going, oh yep, shot, and then reset, and then now I've got a chain going, and yeah, you guys aren't doing anything.
Yeah. Right on. So how far away is Sydney from having their first team attend a nationals?
Probably a bit of a,
considering that there is one, July 20th to 24th next year in Auckland, and I've got to think that those plane tickets are, I mean, they're not the cheapest things in the world, but I've got to think it'd be cheaper than coming to the States for them to play.
It would. But I think we need to get them playing SM5 first before. I mean, one of the main guy that works there and runs the nights, like the kind of members nights that go on there. He actually went to the tournament in Perth.
Oh, the Aussie titles.
Yeah, he's wildcard. He played in the Aussie titles.
Oh,
and,
cool.
He knows how to play, and he's actually he's really good. He's a really good player. But I think it's that whole change from zone to force that's a bit scary for them, I guess.
I know that there were some of the players out in WA that had talked about potentially coming over next year. So. I mean, it would be pretty awesome to have some of those converts come across.
Hell yeah!
And even like with the Germans that came, to come and treat it as a learning experience, at least for your first tournament, that kind of gears you up to play, future ones. I mean, I suppose everyone's got to start somewhere, right? Like most new sites that come into competitive scene get their asses kicked the first tournament.
Or the second tournament, or
Usually
their
the
third
second.
tournament,
Yeah,
or their
yeah.
fourth. Yeah.
Unless you're Loveland, in which case you just like, you get smashed in the first one and then play reasonably well going forward. From what I hear. Um, right on. Okay, so I mean, a little while's away. Maybe it's time
A
for
little while.
some of us to make a pilgrimage across, and do like a mini tourn uh, or something in your guys' field. Um,
Mm.
but
Yeah, they've cut off a little bit of the arena, making it a bit smaller. But if they open that back up, it would actually be a fairly, I mean, it's small, but it'd be a fairly interesting arena to play SM5 in.
why did they do that?
They do it periodically. They change parts of the arena to just to change it up. Like they've put walls around a certain area, kind of blocking off some corridors and a couple of rooms. But it's
Interesting.
changed a couple of times since I've been playing.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's kind of nice when mazes do that. Like if you can,
Hmm.
yeah, keep your maze
If they have the
dynamic.
ability to.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, we have the ability to do it in Auckland. We haven't had a. Oh, I mean, I suppose they made some permanent field um, structure changes um, recently. But aside from that, we got doors that move, and we haven't moved them in a long, long time. So maybe it's time that we change the config.
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah, although as it stands at the moment, is probably how we're going to play it at nationals. So maybe we'll keep it as is for the next year at least.
No, you should definitely change it right before, just to put everybody on equal footing.
Look, we thought about it. Like there's a couple of things that make the maze harder to play, and I think that would kind of actually even up the playing field by doing it. But in my head, I'm like, do I want to do that, or do I want the competitive advantage of having it as my home maze? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Old selfish Steve.
Selfish Steve-O. What a jerk.
Yeah, he's a big jerk.
Well, we know we can just totem pole you anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, we actually with that part of the arena has long changed. Never again
Yes.
will there be a totem pole there. Some bullshit.
We'll make a new one. New totem pole.
Actually,
With blackjack and hookers.
Totem pole 2020.
I'm not sure actually like there is a decent place to kind of, set up a turtle or a totem pole or a wall of taipan in our maze anymore. So, Sol, are you playing next year?
I'm planning to, yes.
Yeah. Have you got a team yet?
That is- I think that's still TBD, but more or less 80% probably.
Oh, cool.
Was that like the polite way of kicking him off your team, Steve?
No, I did that months ago.
Yeah, he did. I'm not cool enough anymore.
Look, we made a conscious decision as a site to sort of exclude expat players, which is a shame because there was a team I had in mind, which was kind of a throwback team, which would have been awesome to play with, but in the interest of sort of being fair,
Fair-ish.
yeah, we decided
And
that.
also wanting to actually practice with the people that you're gonna
Yeah,
play
that
Nats
too.
with. Seems like a legitimate concern.
That too. Although half of my
Practice.
team are social butterflies or university students, so finding time with them is difficult.
Plus, you kind of need to we need to blood the new guys up into Nats tournaments.
True. I mean, we've been doing that regardless. Although, to be fair, like the newer guys, we had a first training about a month ago, and the new guys, the quote unquote B team, actually did much better than I was expecting, which was concerning for my boys. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so look, so assuming that you do end up coming next year. From my understanding, you've been on a bit of a fitness journey over the last, what, be almost a year? Is that right?
Over. Brisbane was a bit of a wake up call for me, being about 110 kilos.
Right.
And running up one ramp and being completely dead for the rest of the next 14 minutes 30 seconds was
Yeah.
not the most ideal way to play a tournament.
Yeah. And you could see, like,
So
you just, like, yeah, you could see the struggle. Like, I've been there and currently am there.
That's one of the nice things about laser tag is it can act as that nice little check-in for, oh wait, am I actually physically fit? Turns out, no.
Not at all. So,
it's,
so how have you been going on your journey?
it was a bit of as I said, it was a bit of a wake up call for me. And after that's when we got back to Sydney, my loving and supportive wife said, right, we're doing PT. So I was like, okay, sure, why not? And that's history now. I've been doing it for over 12 months now. It's been probably close to 14. As of Detroit this year, I was 200% fitter than I ever was.
That's
Than I was the year before.
substantially
Nice.
Improved.
Yes, and 11 kilos lighter. So
That's awesome, man. Well done.
meaner and fitter.
How often are you training? Are you training like a couple times a week, or?
So I do. There's group classes that we do three days a week, and then PT once a week. Leading up to Nats next year, I'll be putting in a bit more effort, seeing if I can get that little bit more off, a little bit fitter, and
Trying to suck less.
yeah. We try, don't we?
Return to the glory days of skinny soul.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at those photos and cringe because that's just weird for me.
Bro, me too. It's
Is that why you ate them?
That's right. Yeah. I don't have to look at them anymore.
Besides, the more you lose, the more you can enjoy the fireball with the DK.
Speaking
Amen,
of which,
brother.
how is it being the president of the Fireball DK fan club?
Well, it has its rewards.
Yeah.
Anything that's Fireball themed that gets advertised on Facebook, I always receive a tag from Mr. Soul over here. So,
I have.
You do got to do what you got to do.
We have a couple of photos actually that I've been meaning to post, which involved a hobo in Times Square and a Fireball t-shirt. So yeah, I'll make sure to send those through to you guys.
he's the vice president of the fan club.
All right. Well, like I hope that come nationals, you're sort of in the best recent fighting shape that you've been in. That'd be pleasant to see, man. Mostly because like it's nice to see people living a healthier lifestyle, especially people that you've known for a while.
Yeah, I'm still impressed with Rusty's pre-tournament weigh-in and then his post-tournament weigh-in.
What, from the States this year?
Yeah, he was I think it was 85 kilos pre-tournament and then 92 when he got back.
Not recommended for amateurs.
Oh man, that's how you end up in hospital, kids, with diabetes.
Yeah.
Well, you would be the expert on that one.
That's right. Yeah, take it from old G&D. Yeah, always remember to buy travel insurance. All right, cool. Well, look, thanks all for coming on, man. Like, you've been sort of a pillar of Auckland Laserforce for many years. So
Has he really been though? Really?
well, up until he
Younger than you.
A pillar? Were you a
Oh,
pillar?
shots fired.
up until he moved to Sydney, I would say maybe one of the smaller pillars, but still a pillar nonetheless.
Well, I don't know. It was a pretty large pillar back then too.
We hope to obviously see you in nationals next year, and possibly sooner than that if you're coming home anytime soon.
Yeah, we're looking. We're actually looking at coming back probably either late January or early Feb. So
Right. Bring a team
we'll
with you.
Yeah, no, it'll just be me. Maybe
Oh,
Leach as well.
Right. But yeah, if we don't see you beforehand, we'll see you at Nationals, man.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, look, we'll leave it there for this week. But for this week, I have been Guy Next Door.
I've been DK.
And I've been Than.
Always remember to backtrack, kids. We will see you next week.